So next up, we've actually got, I believe it's Jim Wilkes and Lachlan.
We've already gone over that.
Oh, yeah, you've got it.
Are they already set up?
I think they're close to ready to go. If not, we'll go to them shortly.
Well, we might as well have a chat about their list while we're here, actually, because
did Tim Evers explain to you anything about his sideboard, about the choices?
Yeah, we had a bit of a talk about that.
Yep. Okay.
So look, let's have a look. I mean, Jim and Lachlan are running pretty much stock standard lists.
Oh yeah. So here we've got Lockie in the Nope sleeves, and Jim in Hypermats.
So Jim's running the standard counterbalance deck.
Jim's on the play.
He's on the American version, running 3 counterbalance, and the Caracas with the Vandilian click interaction with 2 clicks.
Yeah.
Lockie's on a fairly straightforward burn list. He's got nicely curved out spells that are going to dodge his counterbalance. Now I think burn is seriously up in this matchup.
Oh, definitely. I think burn is seriously up in this top 8.
Now, the one trick that Jim does have against Burn is that he has a sneaky sideboard of Batterskull. Now, this game will drag out, even though it's against Burn. So if he can stick that Batterskull, things are going to get very nasty for Lockie. So
potentially using his Swords for Life gain off the entreats here?
Yeah, it becomes really strange, because Lockie's going to have to consider whether it's worth boarding in his Shattering Sprees or just racing the Batterskull. But look, traditionally Burn's got a good matchup against Counterbalance because the curve is just off with the deck.
Yep.
So if Burn's on the play, they're going to lead with a Lava Spike. Counterbalance will lead with a top. Lachlan will then double bolt him. And then once Jim sticks his Counterbalance, Fire Blast is at 6, Price of Progress and Flame Rift are at 2. Volcanic Fallout can't be counted.
Yeah, well, that's fine. There's not many 3-drops in the deck from what I can see now. There's 2 Vendilion Clicks and Council's Judgment.
And Sulfuric Vortex just wrecks the counterbalance.
That's something that can be counted. But the interesting thing, so I'm really keen to see a Terminus counter a Fire Blast here.
Well, Terminus should be boarded out games 2 and 3, I expect. I mean, it's probably the weakest card on the list against Burn.
Can I just squeeze over the list? So he's also playing the Eidolons here, which are stronger in every other matchup, but this one.
They're not terrible. An Eidolon's often just a 2 for 4 damage, because if you get it out and the counterbalance player needs to brainstorm in response or something to find an answer or has to dig a bit, you know,
yep.
the removal spell itself is usually going to burn them for 2 unless they Terminus in the first game, so often it's going to deal some damage, and that's all the Burn player really wants, just to incrementally get the counterbalance player down. And look, the thing with Burn is even getting a top counterbalance out is not a lock on spells on 1, because often the Burn player can Chain Lightning, force the counterbalance player to crack that top, and then bolt in response.
And then they can hope and pray that they have. There's also brainstorm.
And then once the top's on top, they can Fire Blast. You know, it's a very difficult matchup for Jim.
So the things here that I'm looking to see will be Rift Bolts being held back. Hopefully not leading with a turn 1. Like, Goblin Guard is definitely a strong play, but the card advantage for Jim is what's potentially going to keep the matchup going. Okay, yeah, we've got Jim keeping 6 cards.
Look, he's suspending his Rift Bolt.
Yep, so not holding it back.
And Jim thinking, holy crap, look, he's on Burn, because nobody expected that.
We've got the Counterbalance on turn 2. Rift Bolt face.
Blind Flip.
Oh, stop! Got the sleeves, nothing landed in the hand now.
So we've got a Jace on top, so Lockie knows it is clear to double spike here.
Yeah.
I'll play the Lava Mats for source of repeatable damage.
Yep. What's he got in his hand? He needs to lean a little bit forward or tuck his chair in.
Yeah, if Lockie could tuck his chair in, that'd be good. We could actually see what he's got in his hand.
Lockie likes to lean all the way back with his rings and his gangster suit. Has to pick the worst foil mountain. I'll spike to face, counterbalance trigger.
And Jim's played out 2 non-basics here, by the way, so he's going to
his price of progress come thundering down, flipping Terminus.
That's actually pretty funny.
That's amusing to see. So the Grim Lavamancer is going to exile
let's see if he
for the 2
fetches
additional
here.
damage.
He could fetch. No, it doesn't fetch. Can you show me the list again? Let's see how many basics Jim has, because that's actually going to be quite relevant in this matchup.
I reckon Jim's going to have somewhere 8 basics, 8 odd basics?
6.
6. Are we at 4 planes, 2 islands? 4 islands, 2 planes. Yep, that's what we got.
Jim quickly plummeting in life total now.
Yeah, his sideboard, he's got the Batterskull, maybe Enlightened Tutor, but not much else. Wear and tear for the Sulfuric Vortex. It's not looking too healthy. So, do you like the, if that resolves, that's going to be absolutely tragic. Okay, here we go. Definitely countering this.
He's probably got a second counterbalance in hand to counter that.
I think one of the biggest issues that's is going to happen post-board is that Jim just has next to nothing to do. I mean, with the 4 Jace main...
Look, that's the problem this deck has. And I mean, some of the burn spells are unpredictable. Like, nobody expects the volcanic fallout. And often a burn player will let, the bolt on 5 resolve, just expecting to counter the last thing and then being completely shocked when they find it's uncounterable.
With the fallout? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hoping to keep themselves alive. Also, there's just so much explosive power here. I mean, there's always going to be the scary. As long as he has 3 cards in hand, there's the 10 damage from Bolt, Fire Blast.
And how does Jim close this game off? I mean, he needs a lot of lands to entreat the Angels. And, a click is going to take a long time to kill Lockie. So his options are really limited.
The click's going to die to any burn spell that Lockie plays. I was thinking, potentially, because he was going to pass the turn there, he could have cracked the fetch land and Chain Lightning back, which Lockie then didn't have the ability to do back for the extra 3 points damage, just to try and get somewhere with it.
Pretty funny, but...
I mean, there was not going to be...
Remember, if he cracked there, he would have had to have gotten a non-basic land.
I guess Lockie hadn't played a land yet for turn. Potentially, he could have gone a land price of progress.
Look, he just does not want to play anymore.
Oh, look at the burn in his hand. He's got, 6 cards in hand? Jim's mulled the 6, but...
prize, what's the prize?
The prize, he's got the Fire Blast.
Get a non-basic, do the bad. No, he didn't do the bad.
Alright, so he's got at least 8 points of instant speed burn in hand. I think he might have had the second Fire Blast as well.
Yeah, I think Lockie's just going to have to gun it. If Jim sticks a top, I think it's fine. He'd go price blast. Or if he taps out for a click here, go for it, because he can't brainstorm in response. So this is going to be a big turn of damage.
How much are we getting? So
8.
Potentially force.
Price. Bam.
Price is just 4. So we got force here. Is it worth forcing, do you think? Like, it saves you 1...
It's fine.
Saves you 3 points of damage.
I mean, what else is Lockie going to cast but a burn spell? I mean, the only thing that's worse
than
a
he's trying
price
to think
of progress
of what worst burn spells
is Sulfuric Vortex.
Yeah, Sulfuric Vortex. He's got...
remember,
resolving an Eidolon and a Bolt is not the worst play in the world.
Sulfuric Vortex isn't the best here, because now that Jim's got a clock, he can actually fight through it. It's still not good, but...
Well, it's definitely not good at all. I mean, Lockie's got a fistful of burn, and the Sulfuric Vortex coming down.
So we're going to see
blocks
probably...
Jim's life gain out, so his swords can't do anything.
Is Jim's top card of his library note? Is it still Swords to Plowshares? Has he drawn it?
So he brainstormed back for the counter spell.
No, that was the previous turn, so he doesn't have the swords on top. So Lockie's going to price Bolt Fire Blast, so that's potentially 11 damage. So that's lethal. He might actually have lethal damage in hand. We haven't seen a counterbalance trigger yet.
Oh yeah,
so Lockie is sitting on lethal
Fire Blast, but we know he has the force.
We know he does.
Yeah.
But
he was trying to toss up whether he had to pitch the counter spell. That's rough. I think potentially just holding back there until you had the lands to entreat for enough to keep yourself alive.
So Lockie needs to Fire Blast here, I think, because if he gets clicked, it's just into another burn spell or a mountain anyway.
Yeah. So, he's getting rid of his
clicking himself.
Okay, getting rid of the Terminus because it's dead in this matchup. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, Price is still a good call at this point, though, because, look, even without a top, obviously Jim can still manipulate the top card of his library with a Brainstorm, so you want to be able to sneak through as many spells as you can on the few occasions where he does tap out.
Yep.
So if he does tap out for an Entreat the Angels as well, that's going to be another opportunity for Lachlan to actually push for the win.
So, passing the turn, I think he's going to go for the end of turn kill you.
Maybe.
And then the untap kill you to try and force through as many spells as possible. So, Bolt, Counterbalance, Trigger. Are we going to see the top?
Maybe another pop as well.
Brainstorm. Here we go.
See,
okay. Yeah, this is potentially unwieldy. So what's he's drawn with the cards? We've got a Force and a Jace. And is that a Terminus? That's not a particularly good Brainstorm there. Alright. So we're going to get a free counter for it with the swords. And that's all. Alright, because he's got a fistful of burn. So he's going to pass the turn and leave the swords to be drawn again. No? Go down with an Eidolon.
Eidolon, Eidolon. Your Eidolon's my Eidolon. He might counter here. I don't think he should, but he might. But you can just see like how much the counterbalance player is struggling here. Because Lockie has just had the win condition in his hand for the entire game. And now the Terminus is gone as well, he can push it with a Fire Blast too. I think the problem for Jim here is if Lockie does resolve the Eidolon, he needs to keep the click on D, which is just terrible because he actually wants to draw he doesn't want to draw the game out, he just wants to win.
Yeah, he's just trying to bash in for the points. So Lockie's got another Eidolon, a Fire Blast in hand, and I think another Lightning Bolt. And I believe there's 4 cards there. So drawing for turn.
Don't know why he wouldn't try to push out the Eidolon there though. I think that's an error. Unless he's... No, I don't know what he's doing.
He's holding cards until he has the ability to just kill him outright. He's got enough cards, he's just going to try and outdo his counterbalance for counterspells. While Jim's sitting there holding force. And he's constantly got the swords open, bashing him down to 5.
The top's not good.
Top's
Lockie just needed to gun it here.
Yeah, he's playing too
conservatively.
Oh, no.
Now he's going to kill himself with his own Eidolon.
Yeah. So maybe he's trying to force if he forces the counterspell here, actually, then it's really good for him because he's got the top and he can go for the burn damage. He can go for Bolt.
Jim does have a second top activation though.
Yep. Well, so now he's got to gun it here at this exact moment because otherwise he's going to die, and he's passing the turn. Is he? Because he draws the counterspell and the game's over. He needs to go
upkeep. Why would you let someone untap here?
He
just gets more top activations.
Just needed to Fire Blast and go for all the burn you had in your hand. Playing the constant Eidolons was really bad, and not just forcing it. Forcing the counterspell to go, that was fine.
Yeah, you don't go for the massive burn in one turn. I mean, there's just no point.
You just try and peter it out.
Yeah, just throw them at the guy while you've got them. Some of them will get through, and then you'll eventually win.
I like the building up for a big one because there's only so many you can count in one turn.
Lockie's got an interesting position now. He's debating about whether to Fire Blast the click, which is super awkward.
Especially because he knows he's got a counterspell. The game is well and truly over for Lockie. He passed the turn on the previous turn, and it's just all bad for him. Unless he's got...
See, that we need to see his cards. I'm not sure how many cards he has in hand.
I think he's got about 6, but it doesn't really matter. Even with 6 cards in hand...
I don't know.
Even with 6 cards in hand... Fire Blasting is not going to get there. The top is just too much. Don't play the Eidolon. Okay, Fire Blast, floating to red. Dealing 4 damage to Jim.
He must have a double blast here.
Yeah, so he's got the double blast potentially.
Double blast price.
Triple blast is pretty bad.
Double blast price.
Triple blast mountain. Like that may be why he was holding back, because he's got the...
Jim Force of Wills here.
Yeah, so this is we've got the
third
force.
So Jim goes to 8.
Yeah.
So he's going to price maybe, or
a Fire Blast.
Double
so
Fire Blast.
4 red in pull. Lockie's going for the all-out burn this turn. So 4 damage. Is he hitting the click? No, he's going for Jim's face. He's going to try and force him.
I would love it if he had a Flame Rift here. That would be so funny.
Going to a draw.
Yeah.
Forcing the draw every game.
Oh, that'd be classic. Jim might make the error of letting the Fire Blast resolve.
The Fire Blast resolves, and there's so much stuff Lockie can do. He's still got... it's at least 2 cards in hand. It's 3? 3? That's a 3 for Lockie.
I reckon he's got the Flame Rift. So he does.
Flips the counter spell and scoops.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether or not the counter spell was left on top was the question, and that was definitely the right play for Jim. He could always crack the top back for the counter spell, and it counted all the 2 drops.
Yeah, Lockie played bad there.
Yeah.
He needed to be a lot more
needed to go for it on that last turn.
Yeah, I think, it's just... Or at the very least, like...
Okay, so what have we got in the sideboard?
He's got 3 shushes. Shushes are going to be big for Lockie, because obviously the shush's ability actually shuts down counterbalance as well.
Does shusher allow you to cast your burn spells uncounterably? It's just creatures, isn't it?
No, everything.
That's really good.
Makes target spell uncounterable.
Oh, yeah, it is too.
And it is uncounterable itself.
Oh, obviously. And red-green, and there's... Oh, he's got swords, but he's likely to take out his swords here.
I reckon the Terminuses will go. They do counter the Fire Blast. I don't know. I think I would board out Terminus here.
So what's he got? We've got Vexing Shushers. if the clicks are going to stay in, the Searing Bloods are going to be fine because that's the only win cons he's got. He doesn't have the Rest in Peace helmet.
Searing Blood is too weak.
Too weak, you reckon?
Too weak. Basically, Searing Blood just replaces a better burn spell. You could say to yourself, no, I just think it's terrible. He just boards in the 3 shushes. Sometimes against Counterbalance, they do board in that extra Batterskull, and it's always quite funny, smash to smithereening a top to force them to make a bad top back.
Crack.
Which is quite funny.
But I think that's
it's
a
cute
bit niche.
more than
it's
anything.
Niche.
No, it isn't. It does force
it forces them to crack it back, but like the thing is, you're boarding in a card to trying to make them play poorly as opposed to actually dealing damage.
The Batterskull is the other issue, though. But again, it's all about dealing damage. It just boards in the 3 shushes.
So Smash through the Smithereens is good. If we go to game 3 and we see the Batterskull this game, then the Smash through Smithereens might come in.
Yeah, all he does is he takes out a Goblin Guide and the 2 Grim Larphomancers, replaces them with shushes, and then just goes for his life. And he needs to be a lot more aggressive in this match. Another thing I don't like is, I don't know what his starting hand was.
Yeah.
But leading with a Rift Bolt suspended again this matchup is bad. Rift Bolt is one of the
cards
burn spells
that
that
hold
gets through.
Yeah, there's only, in the main deck, there's 2... there's 2... What's the angel spell?
Entreat the Angels.
2 Entreat the Angels.
And a Council's...
2 Vandalion Clicks and a Council's Judgment. Those are the only things that are going to counter the Rift Bolts late game.
So you hold the Rift Bolts back. You just keep spiking as much as you can for the first couple of turns.
Yeah.
It is interesting that Burn... You know, you can actually... It is a deck you can play badly, even though it just seems like such a straightforward deck.
Yeah. It's about when to burn with what spells. And I think holding it back there was... Lockie was just playing close to the chest with a burn deck.
He was too conservative. I mean, like a lot of decks like Burn and Legacy, I mean, sometimes you've just got to, be a man and gun it. And play in a risky way and not give too much credit to your opponent, not be afraid of what your opponent's going to do, and just accept that sometimes they got force.
Oh, I think definitely holding back was the right play, but you needed to pick your moment, and he picked it and then changed. It's just really unfortunate. He went for the burn, and he should have bricked it there, gone for the double Fire Blast into the Flame Rift, gone for the full-on lethal, and he held back. And
he probably would have won that match. Yeah, actually, with a double Fire Blast Flame Rift. I mean, he's just winning. Yeah, and he just held back, and that was the one turn he had it because the counterbalance was on top of the library. The counter was on top of the library. He needed to crack it back. He could have forced the Fire Blast. I mean, even at the stage where he was on 2 life and Jim had the click, I think at that point you just say, well, I done goofed. I could have won, but I'm not going to win. I guess I Fire Blast the click. Because at least you're not dead then.
Yeah.
At least you're not dead.
And there's nothing coming back because there's no burn in Jim's deck.
You're relying on a 2-cost spell against a deck with a counterbalance and a active top to somehow make its way through just for a draw, and it's just not worth it. You Fire Blast the click and you go for the win later.
It was unfortunate that Lockie drew 3 Eidolons across the course of that game.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't ideal. Seeing more of Lockie's hand would have obviously helped. But we'll see. Alright, here we go. We've got them. They're both at 7 at this point. Opening Lockie to play. The obviously other advantage is that Jim Wilkes was on the play. He was...
well, the fact that Jim Wilkes is Jim Wilkes as well.
The Jim Wilkes experience. He's top of Swiss.
Yeah.
Lockie's mulliganing. Mulling to 6. Jim's keeping. I think Jim's happy.
Kept a full fist.
And
let's hope Lockie plays forward a bit so he can actually see what's in his hand. Otherwise, everything's a surprise. So I did predict the double Fire Blast. It's like, I don't even need to see his hand to know what
we saw the Fire Blast.
We saw one of them, yeah. I think he is leaning forward a bit, though. He's trying to squeeze himself in.
Thank you to our guy on the ground.
Yeah.
Nope. So we tried to get Jim the white-blooded counterspells that he so cherishes.
Chain Lightning, Flame Rift.
We've got a mountain, it's fine, it's full of bolts, right? Yeah. So we've got a Vexing Shusha. Is that looks like Shatter, but it's definitely not Shatter. Goblin Guide, here we come. I just like this card. It just draws your... There we go. Draws your opponent things. I remember when Goblin Guide was in Standard, they went over the... you were more likely to win playing a Goblin Guide deck by playing 6 Goblin Guides than you were to lose to be deck checked.
Yeah.
Someone made a joke, but they did some odds on it.
I love seeing Goblin Guide against me in Legacy. I often play Allurin, and it's funny stacking a library with the Brainstorm, then Quelling Oracling as well.
Lands. You're drawing all the cards. That's why I don't like Goblin Guide.
It's fine. It's fine in this deck.
It is,
because
it
often
is.
it gets in for 4, and that's all you want. 1 for 4 is a good investment. I mean, the thing with burn decks, when people build them badly, they often put in suboptimal cards, particularly creatures that aren't guaranteed damage. Often in Legacy, Goblin Guide's fine. It even kills Death Ride if they block it, and sometimes that's a correct
Do you
decision.
think Ball Lightning is too much of a mana investment for what it does for 6 damage?
Thalia. There are creatures with first strike. It's not. It's not a guaranteed 6 damage.
Yep.
Um,
Swords. Here we go. Definitely Goblin Guide's gone.
Thanks for the card though, bro. And Jim looks like he's going the basic land route.
Oh, definitely. Like after game 1, I think it was just I'm spending the Rift Bolt again instead of
Chain Lightning. Oh dear.
Yeah. I mean, what is he scared of? There's no misstep in the format.
I just don't think he realizes.
Fiddling with the rings. Lockie's a bit nervous. He thought this was going to be a great matchup.
Well, it is a great matchup.
Yeah, and he's just playing it really poorly.
I hate being that guy in the commentary box just criticizing someone else's game.
So,
you're so bad. I would be so good at this.
That's why I'm not in the top 8, clearly.
Well, I didn't play, so...
You have a bit more justification. You are the master of masters.
Yeah, the master of masters, exactly.
Yeah, mum.
Not good enough to win an event, but doing okay in all the events.
Subpar performance in everything.
Yeah,
Just participation.
Get Death in the top 8 of Highlander, Vintage, and Legacy. What a pro!
The best of the participation awards. All right, we've got the top come down. We're waiting for the counterbalance. The price isn't particularly good here. We're still waiting.
As long as he dumps his lava spikes. I mean,
Yeah, the one land is what's really holding him back here.
Yeah. Getting Jim to 8 is really good as well. Like once he's on 8,
there's so much range. You've
so many
got
angles.
The Flame Rift, the Fire Blasts. All right, so are we going to see a counterbalance this turn, or is he?
Something for a blue and
Stoneforge Mystic to get.
Wait a second, I didn't see a Stoneforge.
There's 2 Stoneforge Mystics in the sideboard.
I saw the Banner Skull, but I just thought
there's 2 Stoneforge Mystic in the board. Why have a Battle Skull when you can't shoot it for it?
See, if Lockie won game 1, he would have had a chance to realise he could board in Shattering Sprees for game 3.
Well, he can still win this. I mean, a land off the top gives him potential lethal burn next turn.
Yeah,
he still has he has the double bolt, and that fetch land he can just make dead. And it's still 2 turns before Battle Skull comes in.
He might need to bolt the Stoneforge, which is super awkward.
I don't know. Look, like, can he go for it this turn?
Flame Rift, Fire Blast. That doesn't get
Searing Blaze. Did he bring in the Searing Blood? Did he tech against the tech?
This is why I bring in Shattering Spree against this deck, because
Shusha. Okay, so he's forcing his win con because he knows he's got 2 turns before the Batterskull can attack.
Yeah.
And he's just going to force through the bolts one at a time.
Yeah.
And he always has the option to kill his Shusha after blocking to save the life gain. There's a lot of things Lockie can do here. I feel like he's not dead yet. But Jim's definitely
got a swords
coming back. This is a proxy tournament. You can tell by the Vexing Shusha.
Yeah. Most people, we've endeavoured to get them the real cards, but
Lockie,
unsurprisingly, Lockie decided to give us his full list, I think.
2 days. Before.
Actually, he didn't even formally email it to me until after the event had started.
Oh, really?
After
okay.
11 o'clock. So
I'm
like, I didn't bring Shushas for you, because you know what?
He told me that he emailed it to you 2 days prior.
No, what he did is he sent me a Facebook message saying, change these.
Let's
not kick him while he's down, the poor guy.
But yeah,
hugs for Lockie. And I'm sorry, mate, if you watch this coverage afterwards.
The red deck wins. It was also a choice that kind of caught us out of the blue. Having more notice definitely would have allowed us to...
I suggested red deck wins. I thought it'd be great.
Oh, definitely.
Do you want some Happy Cow?
No, it's alright.
It's delicious Austrian cheese, mate.
Oh, this. I'll take a Happy Cow.
This is a Laughing Cow, by the way. It's the cheap Polish knockoff.
Look, I'm Polish. Don't knock it. Alright, he's working out whether or not he wants...
in the tank. He might have the... Well, no, he wouldn't have... What's he got? I might have will of the council. I think he was debating between, what is it, council's judgment?
Council's judgment.
He was debating between council's judgment, which would put him off off Batterskull for a turn, deciding that he'd rather just slam the Batterskull and probably win.
Hoping that he's not dead here, that Lockie has the extra mountain, because he can just leave the red source up and he's going to be able to cast burn spells all day.
Yeah, so he gets in. Oh,
I have a phone ringing somewhere.
now
Hoping.
the question is, how
does he deal with the Batterskull when it comes down? There's no smelt, there's no ability to block. He's hoping... What's he going for?
He's going to have to Fire Blast it, maybe.
Oh, that would be really bad for Lockie. He can get the swing in and hope to get the Batterskull in response.
It's not terrible.
I think, if he goes for the bash, then Jim's going to hold back. Jim's a conservative player, and I reckon you can bluff the 2 damage and get through 2.
Yeah, look, I reckon that's his decision at the moment, and I think what you should do is you should just go for it. I mean, he can rip a mountain off the top and then burn again. Remember, he's got the 2/2, so Jim will have to make a block with the Stoneforge to keep himself off 5 life on the next turn.
He can block with the Stoneforge and activate to make the Batterskull, which keeps him safe. The Fire Blast the Batterskull is then okay, but he can then bounce it and replay it. I mean, it's a lot scarier.
Still takes some turns, though.
It does, that's true. So making a Batterskull. Lockie knows it's coming down. Here we go. He's got the token, remembering his trigger. It's the worst. So many people I've seen miss Batterskull triggers, and it's just the end. And you can see it in their eyes. It's not just the end for them because they've missed the Batterskull trigger. Like, they can still have a phenomenal board state, but they just tilt. It's gone. Such a simple trigger.
Lockie's feeling pretty triggered right now.
Oh, yeah, he thought he had a great matchup. He played the first one a little bit poorly.
He's got an uncounterable Fire Blast for the Batterskull. That's what he's
but
doing.
it's going to hurt.
Yup.
Is it not worth the... Oh, and he's not doing it.
Oh, well. See, the problem with the burn deck is...
Well, the thing is, even if he killed the Batterskull this turn, it comes back next turn. And he has no lands.
Yeah, look.
I think he's potentially better off.
He can't win with an active Batterskull. He's got next turn to win, and that's it. Otherwise, he's just lost. Remember, Jim's not going to play more than 2 non-basics, so Lockie doesn't have an effective way of pulling ahead of the Batterskull lifelink. So his only other option here is Bolt end of turn, untap, kill you. Yeah, there we go. So you're going to try Bolt end of turn, untap, kill you. Flame Rift Fire Blast or something, or Price of Progress Fire Blast. The problem is he needs another mountain to make one of them uncounterable. Yeah, well, Jim's on 8. So we've got the Flame Rift. Now, if Jim misplays encounters here, Lockie's got a shot because in the Fire Blast he might not have permission for the Fire Blast. But if he's on,
going to 4. All right, so he's got the uncounterable Fire Blast.
Bam! But Jim's going to have double permission. Bam!
Getcha.
Yeah.
So he's on 3.
7, effectively, and Lockie's hellbent, so he can't win.
Yeah. The game's over. That's unfortunate for Lockie. I'll do the interview for him. You can have a snack and a break.
No worries.
And try and kick the other people into gear with their deck lists so we can have a nice, smooth tournament. Fetch lands.
I'm going to get all Grandad on them. So mad.
We saw you in the shopping mall the other day and we recognised you as Grandad Hipster. Just out of the blue, we saw you.
Yeah.
The game's well and truly over. The Rift Bolt's not going to get there. It's unfortunate. I'll ask Lockie about what was in his hand to double check that he had the Fire Blast and whether or not he should have just gone for it or not. Yeah, and match. Lockie's going to be disappointed with that.
Okay. So,
I guarantee this means you won't be seeing Lockie at the PTQ. He thought about going, but he's not going now.
Why not now?
Because he'll be on tilt and it'll carry over. Especially because he has to leave tonight.
Alright, well, I'll go out and pull out Lockie and
yep.
Stop annoying Marco with my munching in the middle of the, the commentary booth. Sorry, yep. Marco.
Oh, they've got another... No? Alright. Just unboarding. explaining what they boarded to one another and what they could have potentially done. Realised you have the Smash Smithereens in board, but didn't see the Batterskull. Jim's onboarding. I think Jim's pretty well positioned there now. I mean, he's got to face Chris Addy with Pox eventually, but that'll potentially be in the final. Alright, here we go. Coming back, Lockie will be joining me momentarily. I'll just... Coming in. Welcome to my current humble abode. Sleep. Just a moment. Storage. Full cream. This thing. Chocolate skim.
No.
Sanitarium.
Yes. That one.
There we go. There we go, everyone. Yes, we are in a storage cupboard. So, how do you think that went? Like, as far as...
Yeah, look, I mean, I think losing game one, I had 2 Fire Blasts in opening.
Yeah.
And I drew 2 more.
Oh, so you had 4 Fire Blasts. We could actually see you.
Yeah, I tried to show the camera, yeah.
Did you get the 6th mountain in the end?
No.
Okay.
Like, I drew the Flame Rift for turn, so
Yep.
I thought my best out was, like, just Fire Blast, Flame Rift, draw, and
Yep.
draw the game.
Right, okay. Yep. Yeah, we were looking at the Flame Rift draw, like
Yeah.
you're trying to force the double counterspell. So we didn't realise you had all 4 Fire Blasts.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. I was really hoping to get to the 6 mana so I could, cast one, blast you.
Yep.
But,
Cast the blast. We're waiting to see a Fire Blast countered with a Terminus off the top, but yeah, that's really unfortunate then. So you went for, I think there was the moment the turn before where you could have gone for the Fire Blast, Flame Rift after he'd countered your spell.
Yeah.
And try and force him to crack the top back for the counterspell to keep himself alive.
I drew the Flame Rift the turn.
The following turn?
Yeah, the turn
Okay,
in which
right.
I had I played the 5th mountain, untap, draw Flame Rift, have blast,
Right.
Flame Rift. Yeah.
Okay, yep. Alright,
So-
so it was an unfortunate set of draws. And then game 2 with the Shusha, and you just had to go for it at that point.
Yeah.
Otherwise you were dead.
I think I should have not played the Shusha and just bolted the Mystic.
Yeah.
In hindsight, I just didn't. I just kind of underestimated how many counterspells it have in his hand.
Yes.
Like
3 Force
yeah.
of Wills game 1 and a counterspell was quite a lot.
Yeah, like counterspell force as well.
So the other thing that we thought that was potentially something you could have done was Fire Blast the Click when you realised
Yeah.
there was the error.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To
keep yourself alive, like many turns prior even.
I thought that if I did that, it didn't win me the game, and like every draw step was like another chance to draw a burn spell or another chance to draw something relevant.
But you only really need the 2 mountains. I mean, the
Well,
second and third, the third and fourth Fire Blast are always going to be
I
dead.
mean, after I drew the 5th mountain, I considered it, but then I was like, if I just draw 1 more mountain, I have like triple
You can
Fire
just get
Blast.
there, but
Yeah.
you're on about 2 at that point.
Nah, I was getting attacked down to 5, so I had 1 more draw step after the 5th mountain.
Right.
It's very possible I should have just Fire Blasted the Click and
Stop the win con.
yeah.
Yeah.
But as it turned out, the other thing I was just afraid of is just getting counterspelled.
Did you have the burn spell for the Stoneforge Mystic was another one?
Yeah, I
So
did.
you-
I had
so you
I had a
could-
bolt, and I should have bolted it, but
Yeah.
I thought getting the Shusha out so that I could maybe untap and draw a land, and then like cast a Flame Rift, then do what I did
Yeah.
at the end of the game, just a couple turns earlier.
Shane made comment on your Rift Bolts that you suspended them, in which they're a fantastic spell because there's only 5 spells in the counterbalance. There's the Council Judgment, 2 Vandalion Clicks, and the 2 Entreat the Angels in the main deck that can...
Oh, it can counter it?
Yeah, so if you don't even need to suspend it, you can hold it back and hard cast it in the late game as a
Yeah.
burn spell.
Okay. I mean, that would come with more experience in playing the matchup.
Yep, okay.
I mean, this is my first time playing Burn and Legacy, so
Okay, so it's a new experience, and Jim's been playing countertop throughout the entire thing. He's top
Yeah.
of standings. He's got loads of experience. Also has a new deck allergy, similar to Tim Evers.
yeah.
Yeah, so you definitely meted the tournament, though. You picked red deck instead of anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, coming into it, I asked Shane for some advice, and he recommended either playing Pox or Burn. And I kind of hate playing Pox, so Lightning Bolt's always fun to cast. So
Okay,
and
fair enough.
I thought that if anyone was going to play Alarin, that having 4 Eidolon of the Great Rebels main decked
Would just win the matchup for you instantly.
Yeah.
So you were playing Jim. So your next matchup would have been Lewis and who's Lewis playing?
He'd be playing Morgan, right?
Yeah, Morgan. So your next matchup would have been them. Did you think either of them would have played Alarin?
I think that those guys would play something with shitty dudes in it.
Shitty dudes, and so you could just kill the dudes left, right,
like
center. Fair enough.
Playing Burn, I expected Lewis to be on Delver and Morgan to be on some kind of green-white garbage deck, like
green-white junk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So while Starlayer is annoying and Mother Runes sucks, I'm pretty sure Mother Runes is kind of not untapping.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. So you figured you sort of meted for the decks that you thought you were going to play, and then it didn't pan out this particular one, which is a good matchup and possibly would have been better with more experience and not casting some of the spells. Not suspending them, and also not having drawn 3 Eidolons, 4 Fire Blasts.
The Eidolons were good, but they just kind of died.
Swords not resolve. Yeah.
Well, I got the Goblin Guide swords. I mean, if I got the if he hadn't counted one of the Eidolons in the first game, I would have had him because I had the double Fire Blast.
Yeah.
But if he swords it, I'd be like, sick. It responds. Damage trigger resolves. Getcha.
Fair enough. Yeah. The other thing that was potentially there, I don't know what you had in hand at the end of the last game with the Vexing Shusha.
Yeah.
But blocking the Batterskull and killing the Shusha, and potentially because he wasn't holding back much of the counter, like he did end up holding it back for the double.
I think that play, whilst it's possible it could have bought me a turn or so. I thought losing the Vexing Shusha plus it doesn't really stop the Batterskull because he'll just bounce at end of turn kind of thing.
Yep.
And it also I mean letting the damage through games in the 4 life, but I didn't think it was worth losing the Shusha over.
Yep, that's fair enough. Yeah, so the Shusha, the other thing that I think this was a play I thought I might have made was the Vexing Shusha attacking into the Stone Fortress because Jim was a super conservative player.
I know.
And just would have gone, and probably taken the extra 2, which wouldn't have ended up getting there, but just something that I wasn't sure if you thought about.
I considered actually just attacking and making him use it in combat, and then fire blasting it in combat.
Yeah.
And then, but I was weighing up between if he has counterspell force of will, that's so bad. There's so much. And he ended up having it.
Yeah.
But there's just so much disadvantage on my part.
Yeah, I think Shane. Well, if you watch the coverage later, you'll hear Shane apologise to you partway through for ragging on you partway through. But yeah, there's some interesting plays in there. Jim's double counterspell obviously lost it for you. Having the 4 Fire Blast in game 1 was just unfortunate. And it was a good matchup, and we actually had a bet, so luckily I won $10 off Shane, so losing $10 to him for not having the finals be Burn Pox is okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's about it. We're going to have the next match start shortly. I think we're heading up Dillian Dafford. Yep. So it's Dillian from Sneak and Show playing Alarin, and Daffy playing his Death and Taxes that he's been playing for the whole time.
I think he's won a Pearl and a Time Warp with that. It's a Pearl and a Trop.
Pearl and Trop and a number of Wasteland things.
Yeah,
he sold those for
He's won a lot of cards.
He's also coming in at 3rd. So he's done reasonably well. He didn't do as well as Jim. Jim slaughtered it through, despite going away to the GP to multiple GPs and a Pro Tour partway through. Yep. It was just an awful lot of stuff for Jim, and he's still come back and topped the standings. He's just a phenomenal player. And you had the Jim Wilkes experience.
I did. I experienced it firsthand. It was beautiful. I enjoyed it. I think that this matchup between Alarin and Death and Taxes is definitely pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I've played Alarin a lot. And I think the matchup is in Daffy's favour because I don't think Dylan's played the deck enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless he's been playing it for the last.
No, he played it during the league a
Did
few
he?
times.
Okay.
Yeah, he
Well-
played my Singleton Living Wish list that I played.
Oh god.
He chose it because in testing against Daffod had difficulty against the deck. Daffod spent a long time playing against the deck to work out exactly
where the
yeah,
bottleneck? Yeah.
yeah, where to.
That can be a difficult thing to understand.
So his main thing that he's using is Flicker Wisp to take out the Alarin for a turn and then to do things to stop it
Yeah.
partway through. Like he holds back his Flicker Wisps in the matchup. And David's worked on his list a lot.
I think it's pretty interesting. I don't know what board cards you'd have for the matchup. Probably Pithing Needle.
So he's got a Council's Judgment.
Yeah, that card. I don't read that card at all.
Yeah.
Everything you interact with the deck is instant speed, so I don't think Council Judgment going to do a lot. But I mean, it definitely will kill Alarin. But
Yeah.
Most of the time, if you're playing Alarin, yeah, you're going to win that turn.
Yeah.
It depends on if Dylan is playing the Tinderwall build.
Yeah, he's definitely playing Tinderwalls. I
Okay,
believe he's
yeah,
playing
yeah,
one of
good.
Shane's builds.
Yeah.
From what I know, it's been changed multiple times. We have the lists just here.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're going to be ready shortly. So what's he got? He's got the Cabal Therapies, Intuitions, Syraxis Alchemist. You know,
Yeah,
cards.
yeah.
What's that do?
Syraxis Alchemist, it's a 2 and a black for a 2/2. When it comes into play, if you control a blue permanent, you may return target permanent to its owner's hand. So it's useful in getting rid of hate cards as well as part of a combo. Because you can bounce the Harpy with it, you can bounce the Dreamstalker with it, you can even bounce Calling Oracle and or Raven Familiar and kind of dig a bit more. So it's a very useful card. I've seen it in a lot of different Alarin builds, but
I prefer. So I played when I played it because he used my list. I played
Yeah.
Complete Redundancy. I played the Dreamstalker, the Mana War,
I think
Living Wish for the Rift Sweeper. So I wasn't. There was nothing that was going to stop me from going off.
there's actually a new card in M15, 2 and a green for a 3/3 that when it comes into play, Dreamstalker, except you can't return itself. So
Okay.
that's
I think
a pretty
that-
interesting card.
I think the Artifact Enchantment one instead of Harmonic Sliver is actually relevant because
Yeah,
they no
yeah,
longer
definitely,
they don't need to board the other stuff anymore.
That card's been wanting to be an Alarin for a very, very long time.
long
now.
time
Yeah.
coming.
It's definitely the most exciting card in M15 by
Okay.
far.
I think we're going to have Shane come back in a moment. And then... Yes, we're having Shane come back in? Yep. Okay, Shane will be coming back in and we'll be starting the next round. And we might have you back in later to do some commentary on some of the other matches.
Sounds good.
Yep.
All right, I'll see you later.